up, we have Max Temkin and Julia Weiss from Cards Against Humanity joining us. Wow. But first things first, let's take a look at some headlines from the week. Michelle Obama revealed that on the day of the 2015 gay marriage ruling, she and Malia snuck out of the White House to celebrate, while Melania revealed that she and Barron are just trying to sneak out, period. A new study shows that overexposure to holiday music can cause mental drain and stress. The study was conducted by everyone else in the office, Peter. This week, 2 train cars separated from an Amtrak train near Albany, New York, leaving nearly 300 passengers stranded in freezing temperatures. When reached for comment, one passenger said it was still better than flying United. Melania Trump has decorated the White House for Christmas again this year, this time featuring lines of pure bright red trees, presumably because there's no green ones left. Or they're bleeding. During the Mars rover landing this week, Mission Control lost contact with the rover for 7 full minutes in what NASA scientists called 7 minutes of terror, which is also what most girls call 7 minutes in heaven, by the way. We don't want to play. 190 turtles were found frozen to death in Cape Cod this week, and a mass eulogy is scheduled to be given later by the king of all turtles, Mitch McConnell. God rest their shells. The NFL season is winding down, but we here at the News are looking forward to the new football leagues that are going to be ramping up soon. To debate these leagues, we have our senior football correspondents, Brian Gartland and Wen Powers. Brian. Wow. Thank you. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us tonight.
It's great to be here, Maggie. Football! Yeah!
Yeah, I mean, we're here to talk about football, so let's just get into it. Well, as you know, 2 new professional football leagues are about to start, and I guess the main question that I have is, why?
Well, that's easy, Maggie. The American Alliance of Football is a new spring football league that we believe will become the future of the sport. It's designed to be faster, to keep games short, but also implement new rules to keep players safe.
And the Extreme Football League, or XFL, is back to make NFL look like a bitch. There's going to be more action, harder hits, and hotter cheerleaders.
Hang on. Wasn't the XFL already a thing and didn't it end terribly?
Yeah, there were a few setbacks, Maggie, but don't worry, we've done absolutely nothing to change it.
Right. So how this is going to work is we have our elite fact checker in the back. It's Tony. Everyone say hi, Tony.
Hi, Tony. Hi.
Wow, he knows all the facts. So you know what we're going to do? We're going to use Tony to make sure that everything that you say is identified as either true or false. Make sense, you guys? That way we're going to be able to tell who wins the debate between the AAF and the XFL. Brian, why don't we start with you? What do you believe sets the AAF apart as far as safety is concerned?
Simple, Maggie. We've done research and found that the kickoff is the most dangerous part of the game. So we've eliminated it, which should bring down the total amount of injuries by around 15%.
And the XFL, we replaced the coin toss with a contact play that results in season-ending injuries.
No, there's no way that's... Wow. Okay, that sounds stupid. A big controversy in the NFL this year and last year has been the anthem protests. Brian, what's the AAF policy on this?
Well, Maggie, we request players avoid any on-field protests during the anthem. However, we plan to reward players for being active in their communities by donating to charities they work with.
Oh, that's kind of nice.
And the XFL wants everyone to stand for the anthem, and we will not accept any criminals. Wink.
When did you just say wink?
We don't want this league to be political, Maggie. We want this league to be about football, the flag, and the troops.
Yeah, that sounds very political.
We're just trying to make football great again.
I mean, it sounds like you're just trying to make a football league for Trump supporters.
That's ridiculous, MAGA.
Maggie.
What'd I say?
Okay. Before we go, how about the players? Brian, your pitch to them would be what?
The AAF is planning on putting its players first. We're offering 3-year contracts with escape clauses if the players are chosen to move up to the NFL. And on top of our generous salary, we plan to give bonuses for community engagement and fund a year of a player's education for every season that they play.
Oh, that sounds... Hey, it's nice. It's true. It sounds good. I mean, that sounds awesome. When is the XFL doing anything like that?
We let you put funny nicknames on jerseys, like He Hate Me. And you get the chance to be part of a league owned by Vince McMahon, a guy that looks like a love child of Shooter McGavin in an old leather baseball glove.
Yeah, that's right.
Sounds horrible.
It will be.
All right, Brian Gartland and Win Powers, everyone. I don't know who won that.
Oh, sorry. Time to take my meds.
Oh my God, thanks for reminding me. It's time to take my meds, too.
Sick of feeling left out for not feeling sick? Try my meds today.
Oh my God, I almost forgot. It's time to take my meds.
My meds are simply the placebo week of birth control packs and are made of 100% sugar. But next time someone asks, just tell them you're on my meds.
Today we're going to talk about campaign finance reform. One of the causes of the political mess we're in, and the reason Draco Malfoy got to be Seeker on the Slytherin Quidditch team. Nimbus 2001, anyone? With all of the fill-in-the-blank going on in the news these days, you might think that we'd have better things to worry about than campaign finance, but you would be wrong. Our current campaign finance laws are largely responsible for what got us into this whole political mess, and fixing them might be a really good way to get out of it. See, when a politician decides to run for office, they need cash money, because running for office costs a lot of cash money. How else are you going to pay for commercials, events, lawn signs, sensible pants, suits, lapel pins, and hush money for your mistresses? Now, how do candidates raise money? Ideally, they do so by collecting donations from people who want to see them in office. You like what they say? You give them, I don't know, $5. You hate what their opponent has to say? You give them $5. You need a bag and they're offering a free tote with every donation? Give them $5. Now, yes, small $5 donations to candidates do help, but you know what helps even more? $500,000 donations from corporations. Corporations can do this because they are legally allowed to donate as much money as they want to political candidates. Now, I don't know about you, but when I'm spending $500,000, I don't expect to get nothing out of it. I expect to get most of an English degree. What this means is that, oh, it's too real. What this means is that many elected officials are expected to push the agenda of corporations who give them buttloads of money, making candidates financially beholden to some of the most crooked corporations in the world. Manufacturers who want to limit environmental protections, weapons company who want to limit gun control, or Comcast who want to limit us and make us wait longer for porn. But how did this all begin, Maggie? You're probably yelling at your computer right now. Well, let me take you back to the year 2010. Barack Obama was president, TikTok by Kesha was at the top of the charts. Little Maggie was excited about how Hollywood was going to make The Hobbit into a movie. And it was also the year that the Supreme Court issued a ruling on Citizens United versus the FEC, the case that gave birth to the super PAC. This ruling basically said that it was unconstitutional to limit how much money corporations could spend on elections because it limited their free speech. Of course, this pisses a lot of people off because free speech is a right of people. And despite what they'd have you think, corporations aren't people. Look, just because it doesn't explicitly say that corporations are not people in the Constitution doesn't mean they are. Just like, thank you. Just like that bullshit those puppies pulled in Air Bud. Get the fuck off the court, puppies. You are not supposed to be playing basketball. I don't care how high you can jump. You're not allowed. Get the fuck out of there. Get out of there. Get off and get him off the court. I'm allergic. Before 2010, the most money that an individual could donate to a PAC was $2,500. And corporations were forbidden from donating completely because duh. But after Citizens United, those limits were knocked out the window and the super PAC was born. Now, corporations can donate as much as they want to super PACs. And super PACs can do anything they want to defeat or support a candidate. Run advertisements, make phone calls, send mail, or pay all the porn stars hush money. with little to no consequences, or literally no consequences, just anything they want to do. Think of super PACs as the straight white dudes of the political world, right alongside all the other straight white dudes of the political world. Now, why is this a massive problem? Well, it's because corporations are freaking loaded. They're so rich that if the 100 biggest corporations donated just 1% of their profits, they could outspend every candidate for president, House, and Senate combined. It's kind of like how if Kate McKinnon donated just 1% of her talent, she would still be funnier than Adam Sandler. Does that make sense? Do you guys agree? I mean, fight me. I don't care. This puts corporations at an enormously unfair advantage over the average voter. You might be saying, wait, but does having money equal winning? To which I would say, yeah, no shit. Money is power. That's why they're called the Mighty Morphin Money Rangers. According to the Washington Post, candidates who raised more than their opponents were 9 times more likely to win that election. And often, the winning congressional candidates outspend their opponents 20-1. And you know what? It kind of makes sense. Who are you more likely to vote for? Someone wearing a suit on TV or someone wearing a poncho leaving flyers on your windshield in the rain? Now, is that all changing? Maybe. Sort of, kind of. It's starting to, slowly. Very slowly. And it's mainly through individual candidates. Now, of the candidates that ran in the midterms this year, over 170 refused to accept any corporate PAC money and instead focused on getting donations from individual donors. Now, sure, this is a great start, but the real step to change would be creating some kind of amendment that limits the power of corporations over elections. Otherwise, we're going to end up with candidates just like this one.
Hi. I'm 12 ties stuffed into a suit. You might recognize me from my reality show, Cigar Shark Tank. It's Shark Tank, but for cigars. Now, I've heard a lot of you talking about a living wage. Stop it! I might not have hands, but I'm hands-on for business. I'm 12 ties stuffed into a business suit, and I approve this message.
We'll be right back. Netflix. What else are you gonna fucking do? Netflix. Welcome back. Thank you so much. Tonight I am joined by 2 of the people behind Cards Against Humanity. We've got Julia Weiss and Max Temkin here. Now, Julia, you are the head writer of Cards Against Humanity.
Yes, one of 2.
One of 2 of the head writers. Would you like to give a shout out to them?
I'd love to give a shout out to Joe Feldman. You can follow her podcast, 2 Smart Businesswomen, on whatever podcasts they're on. I'm not into them. I'm into Joe. I'm not into podcasts.
Right, got it. Of course.
I love podcasts.
So far, so good. And Max, you are the creator of Cards Against Humanity.
I'm a co-creator of Cards Against Humanity.
There's 2. There's a co-head writer. There's a co-creator.
There are 8 creators of Cards Against Humanity.
There's so many creators.
Yeah.
Would you like to give a shout out to all of the other 7 members?
No, they could have come, but they're not
didn't.
here. So.
Fuck them.
Yeah, fuck them. Yeah.
Joe's cool. The rest, fuck them.
Yeah.
Get out of here. So for anyone who might not know, for any idiots in the world, what is Cards Against Humanity?
Cards Against Humanity is a comedy party game. It's like 8 years old now. I think this New Year's Eve it will turn 8 years old. So that's kind of weird. I think that it's been out in the world for that long. But Cards was started by me and 8 like childhood friends, and it was like a weird thing that we made for ourselves, and it made us laugh, and we put it on the internet for free. And from that, people asked how they could, if we would print it, if they could buy it from us, and we did a Kickstarter in the very early days of Kickstarter, and did a print run of the game, and that sold out, and then we did another print run, and that sold out, and then we did another print run, and that sold out, and then now it's a company.
Here we are.
Yes. Here we are. Yeah.
I want to say it's like your 5-year anniversary of fucking with Black Friday.
It's been a couple of them. So Prongles was last year, and then we just did this year was our 99% off sale.
Yes.
Yeah.
So would you guys like to tell us about the 99% off sale that just happened?
Yeah.
I mean, we got a bunch of ridiculous shit, and sold it on the internet for 99% off, and people bought it.
Yeah, but it's not just, it wasn't just ridiculous shit. Like, some of it absolutely was. For example, a golden dildo, a toilet poncho.
The toilet poncho.
By the way, with the golden dildo, we found it on a website. We were like, looking. You know where we found it was? There was the Gwyneth Paltrow goop sex issue. And someone went through that issue, by the way, and they added up the cost of all of Gwyneth Paltrow's like sex accoutrement, and the headline of that was, if you're Gwyneth Paltrow, it costs you like $120,000 to have sex, which is very funny. But we found, I think through that we found the gold dildo, and we emailed them. We said, we want to buy this solid gold dildo, and they were like, really? And we were like, yes. And they were like, hang on, we have to make it. And so it was specially.
So you got a special ordered golden dildo to sell.
Yeah, and it had no functionality too, which was the other thing that kind of blew my mind. It was just a piece of metal. It had no
I feel like
features.
there must be something to putting gold in your vagina.
Yeah.
You know?
It must just, yeah.
You know,
I'm intrigued.
It's like those salt lights. You can't tell, but it's doing something to you.
Himalayan salt.
Those
lamps.
Himalayan salt. It's like I can't feel it, but I know there's something.
There's something
and
happening.
With the gold dildo.
So, and you guys also, besides the card game, which in itself is its own really fun, amazing party game, you also do all kinds of other things. For example, the Black Friday sale, and you've also purchased some land on the border between the U.S. and Mexico. Why?
Well, the main reason we purchased that land was to not build a wall on it.
Cool.
We thought that was a good thing to do. So cards has a long history. I mean, one of the other weird things about cards that it's like another one of these like accidents that wound up working out for us was none of us had any life experience that prepared us to like have a company or have a game company or anything like that. And you're supposed to do all these things. You're supposed to get a publisher, and you're supposed to have like investors and like go into retail. We didn't know any of that. We didn't know how to do any of that stuff, and so we just didn't. And then now we find ourselves. Then the game got pretty successful, and we own the whole company. Like, we don't have any debt. We don't have any investors. We don't have a publisher. We don't have a distributor. We just do everything ourselves, and no one can tell us what we can't do. So we're like, it would be pretty funny if we bought some land on the border and then didn't build a wall there and got into a legal fight with the United States government. And there's no one who can go, that's a really bad idea.
I 100% agree with you, and good luck not building a wall on that land. Max Temkin and Julia Weiss from Carell. Thank you. We'll be right back. This season, cool off with a mansplained IPA.
You don't understand. It's really good.
Mansplained IPA. The game is Cards Against Humanity. The latest pack is the Absurd Box. Thank you for watching the news. Now here is your asterisk of the week.
Are just not true. You can't break the law. You've got to come here legally. We are the most generous nation to immigrants in history.